World Press Freedom Day, the idea of UNESCO, highlights the need for greater freedom.
In adopting this Windhoek Declaration 30 years ago, the international community affirmed that information was a public good, at a time when, as we've seen, it was far from being assured.
I think it was David Rhodes said earlier today that it is the personal stories, that it's about talking to people. And I think that panel just now illustrated, when you hear those personal stories, it is a reminder of sort of how important it resonates in a way, the importance of press freedoms and human rights. Now, our next panel, Joint Declaration from Special Mandate Holders on Media Freedom and Democracy, shines a light not on institutions and international organizations like the ones we heard from earlier today, but on regional bodies and special mandates on press freedom and freedom of expression. So please join me in welcoming to the stage Irene Khan, UN Special Rapporteur on Freedom of Expression.
This is the 30th anniversary. For 30 years, we have celebrated media freedom on this day. But here, today, I think we are at the cusp of, I have only one word for it, a crisis. We've heard since this morning, one after the other, the speakers talk about the situation of media freedom. Next year, we will witness 24 elections around the world, including in the world's largest democracies, like the United States, India, Indonesia, and I could go on and on with that. And that puts pressure on media. Media play an extremely important role in promoting, advancing, feeding democracy. And our joint declaration is about media freedom and democracy. And what is that state of democracy? We actually see trends, authoritarian trends emerging around the world, tightening. Authoritarian states are tightening their rule over their country and their grip over their own countries and their influence globally. We see, and very dangerously so, backsliding of democracies. We have just heard a citizen of the world's largest, most populous state, the largest democracy, talk about her problems. And then, of course, we have something else happening, digital technology. We've all been reading with great interest about generative artificial intelligence, which might give a different meaning to what it is to be human. And that digital technology, of course, is changing the way in which we produce, use, consume news, or disseminate news and information. So there are these huge global changes taking place. And those changes, and underpinning those changes, is this decline in public trust, a term that we use again and again and again. But what is actually then happening? We see killings of journalists, 86 in the last year. 86% of cases of killings are never resolved, not investigated, not prosecuted. We see law becoming a weapon, not a means of protecting journalists, but a weapon to persecute and harass them. SLAPS, we all know what that means, so I want to go into the acronym. We see criminalization of journalism again and again and again, and we see laws that have nothing to do with journalism, such as taxation laws, financial scrutiny laws being used against journalists. And then we see an environment which is not conducive to media freedom. We see financial issues coming up. Financial viability of even large, well-known, stable outlets are now in question. Media ownership. We realize the state-controlled media capture that is taking place in many authoritarian states, like the one in which you grew up, Barbara. However, we also see now media barons coming up. in large open societies, media is actually controlled by very few, very powerful, unaccountable people. And we have not heard enough of that today. I'm sorry to say, we've heard about lots of problems in developing countries. We haven't heard the kinds of problems that are emerging in developed democratic states with the media. And those are the reasons why we believe that here and now, we, as the four multilateral experts on media freedom, on freedom of expression, ought to put the light on that issue and also come up with some solutions, some proposals that would lead governments, we hope, governments and companies to reaffirm their commitment to media freedom.